The stars had always been a source of mystery and wonder. For centuries, humanity had looked to them not only as a beacon of possibility, but also as a reminder of how much there was yet to learn. When Earth's first deep space exploration initiative, the Stellar Outreach Program, began charting uncharted systems, the general consensus was that humans would find alien worlds rich with untapped resources, beautiful vistas, and possibly primitive forms of life. Instead, they found silence, vast stretches of the void where even the most advanced sensors could detect no signs of civilization. Until they reached the Shather Expanse. The Shather Expanse was a region of space known for its unusually dense star clusters and oddly aligned planetary systems. When the starship Solstice Vanguard entered the region, its crew expected another routine survey mission. Instead, they stumbled upon a world that defied expectations. Lying on the fringe of a binary star system was an enormous, seemingly lifeless planet. It wasn't listed in any known stellar catalogs. Its surface was smooth, reflective, and had no visible terrain features. No mountains, no valleys, no oceans. From orbit, it looked like a massive, featureless black pearl. Captain Mira Kovalenko, a seasoned explorer with a reputation for tackling the unknown, ordered a closer investigation. As the Solstice Vanguard approached, strange things began to happen. The ship's long-range communications were blocked. Navigational systems showed impossible readings, coordinates that shifted with no logical pattern. Most unsettling of all was the signal. At first, it was just faint static, but as they drew closer, it became a pattern of pulses, then a low, resonant hum. Finally, it coalesced into a series of tones, almost musical in nature. It wasn't random noise. It was a message. The science team worked tirelessly to decode the signal. Dr. Lyra Imani, the ship's xenolinguist, hypothesized that the tones were a mathematical language, a sequence of prime numbers, followed by geometric progressions, and then patterns resembling ancient Earth Fibonacci sequences. After weeks of analysis, a breakthrough was made. The tones were instructions, coordinates for a landing site on the planet's surface. Captain Kovalenko was cautious. The planet was still a complete enigma. Its smooth surface gave no indication of atmosphere, weather, or even a biosphere. It was inert, yet the signal indicated intelligence, planning, purpose. Despite the risks, Kovalenko agreed to send a small landing party to investigate. The team consisted of Dr. Imani, Chief Engineer Marcus Dell, and Lieutenant Asher Lin, a security specialist trained in first contact protocols. The descent to the surface was unlike anything they'd experienced. The planet's atmosphere, or lack thereof, did not scatter light. The sky was a constant, inky black, interrupted only by the sharp, distant glimmer of stars. When the shuttle touched down, the crew found themselves on a surface so reflective that it mirrored the sky perfectly. It was disorienting, as if they were suspended in a void. Dr. Imani began her scans. The readings were strange, almost contradictory. The surface material was metallic yet organic, static yet faintly vibrating. It absorbed electromagnetic radiation, but emitted a low-frequency hum. No natural process could explain it. As the team ventured further from their landing site, they noticed something else. Faint, luminous patterns beneath their feet, as if circuits were buried just beneath the reflective surface. The patterns pulsed in rhythm with the signal, leading them toward a distant point on the horizon. When they reached their destination, they found an enormous monolithic structure rising from the otherwise featureless expanse. The structure appeared seamless, its surface as smooth as the ground they had traversed. As they approached, the signal grew stronger. The tones became clearer, and new harmonics emerged. Dr. Imani recognized these harmonics as a variation of the original pattern. After adjusting their equipment, they decoded the next sequence, initiate revival sequence. The meaning was clear. Someone was asking for help. Captain Kovalenko, monitoring from orbit, was reluctant to give the go-ahead. Activating an unknown alien structure could have catastrophic consequences. But Dr. Imani argued that this was the moment they had trained for, the moment humanity had spent generations preparing for. After lengthy deliberation, Kovalenko authorized the team to proceed. Marcus Dell located what appeared to be an interface panel on the monolith surface. When he touched it, the previously inert material rippled and transformed. Symbols and glyphs lit up, casting an eerie glow. The tones of the signal shifted, becoming a melody that echoed through the airless landscape. As Dell worked, the monolith began to hum. The luminous patterns beneath the team's feet flared brighter. Lieutenant Lin reported movement in the distance, shadows that seemed to rise from the ground itself. Before the team could react, the ground beneath them began to pulse, and the monolith projected a beam of light straight into the sky. The beam hit the planet's upper atmosphere, or whatever served as its atmosphere, and created a shimmering aurora. Within the aurora, shapes began to emerge. They were massive. Structures? Ships? Creatures? It was impossible to say. They glowed faintly, their forms shifting and reforming as if they were partially out of phase with reality. As the aurora spread, the sky filled with these entities. Dr. Imani could barely believe her eyes. These weren't just signals or artifacts. These were beings, ancient, vast, and incomprehensible. The monolith's melody changed again. This time it was a call and response. The shapes in the aurora began to echo the tones, sending their own harmonics back down to the surface. Imani realized what was happening. The monolith had been dormant, and the team's activation had reawakened it. The structures in the sky were part of a network, an ancient, forgotten system designed to maintain a fragile balance. But something had gone wrong long ago, and the network had shut down. The planet had been a hub, a control node for this vast, interstellar mechanism, and now it was trying to reactivate. The Solstice Vanguard sensors went haywire. The once silent world was now a beacon of activity. Other monolithic structures, previously hidden, began to rise from the surface. Energy surges coursed through the planet's reflective skin, creating rippling waves of light. The ship's AI, Celestia, calculated that the planet's energy output was rapidly increasing, and if it continued, it could destabilize the entire system. Captain Kovalenko ordered the landing team to return to the ship immediately. But just as they prepared to leave, the ground erupted around them. Metallic tendrils shot upward, forming intricate patterns that pulsed with the monolith's melody. These weren't weapons. They seemed more like conduits, as if the planet itself was a vast machine beginning to awaken. Lieutenant Lin, ever vigilant, kept his weapon ready, but Dr. Imani urged caution. "It's not attacking," she said. "It's communicating." Through their sensors, the team realized that the tendrils were transmitting data, streams of information far too complex to decipher in the field. They contained references to star charts, equations describing gravitational anomalies, and, most intriguingly, hints of a vast network of similar planets. These worlds were part of the same system, a forgotten empire's attempt to safeguard the galaxy from some ancient, unnamed catastrophe. Back on the Solstice Vanguard, Kovalenko faced a dire choice. The planet's escalating energy output was becoming a threat not just to the landing team, but potentially to the entire star system. They had the option to shut it down remotely, but doing so might permanently end any chance of understanding the network. On the other hand, if they allowed it to continue, the energy surge could trigger a chain reaction that might destabilize neighboring systems. Kovalenko consulted her senior officers, including Dr. Imani, who had returned to the ship. They reviewed the data and realized that the network was designed to prevent something far worse than system instability. The long-dormant network had been holding back a destructive force that had once threatened all known space. If they shut it down completely, that force might return. If they allowed it to fully awaken, they risked losing control and creating a different kind of catastrophe. In the end, Kovalenko made the most difficult call of her career. She ordered a partial activation. Using the data the team had retrieved, they would stabilize the network just enough to prevent the system from collapsing, but not so much that it would fully awaken. It was a temporary solution, a delicate balance that required constant monitoring. The Solstice Vanguard and its crew became the first human guardians of the ancient network. They established a research outpost on the planet and worked to learn more about the beings who had created it. The network remained active but controlled, its aurora dimming to a steady glow. As the years passed, the knowledge gained from the Forgotten Worlds transformed humanity's understanding of the cosmos. New technologies emerged, interstellar travel became safer, and humanity began to explore the network's other nodes. Each discovery brought new challenges, new dangers, and new insights into the ancient civilization that had built the system. The Forgotten Worlds were no longer forgotten. They had been awakened, not as a threat, but as a reminder that the universe was far older, far more complex, and far more interconnected than humanity had ever imagined.